Hello, hello everyone. It's me, Arden Lee. I am back today with another video. And today's video is going to address the subject of how to rebuild your life when you've been through what I'm going to call a dark night of the soul. Now, the person in the Repatterning Parlor Facebook group who asked this question in the frame of having just been through, having just recovered from a very devastating accident where they were hit by a driver who was using a cell phone, and they had to relearn to use their body again, learn to walk from scratch, learn to be able to heal and to function again. And it seems like they've succeeded in that part of their recovery, and yet they're no longer the same person that they were before the accident. And that is no surprise, because anything like that dark night of the soul energy that comes in and destroys the life that you knew at the time and gives you that void from which to rebuild, to step up and create something out of new possibilities. Anything that is that that really raises your known reality to the ground. It's no surprise that your life is probably not going to go back to exactly the same way that it was before. And yet, a dark night of the soul is always where we gain our superpowers. It is always when we are brought back to that 0 point, that ground zero, that non-point, that we can create our lives and our realities anew in ways that better suit us. And while I would never wish an accident like that on anyone, those things that call us into the void, those dark nights of the soul that we go through, can be extraordinary gifts in helping us bring attunement and restructuring to our lives, so that we can really create something that works for us in the present moment, rather than relying on all of our outdated habits and patterns that we've just been utilizing all the while without examining them. So it really gives us an opportunity to create from scratch. So today I'm going to dive a bit into that subject. Before I start unpacking more of that, of course, as always, I would love to invite you to subscribe to my channel and or like my page on Facebook, depending on what platform you are viewing this video on, if you have not done so already. And of course, as always, if you're not yet familiar with me and my work, my name is Arden Lee, and I'm the creator of the Repatterning Project, which is an 8-week course where we examine our patterns, hack our beliefs, optimize our mindsets in order to remove all the obstacles that are in front of us on our path to happiness, success, abundance, and fulfillment, all the wonderful things that we are looking to call in for ourselves. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and check out the description box for this video, where I have left a link to download a free PDF guide about the Repatterning Project, so you can learn a little bit more about what it is that we do. And I also have a link in that description box to my Facebook group, the Repatterning Parlor, which is where this question arose from on a thread. So come and join us there. Go ahead and click through that link and just answer the couple of questions to be admitted. We are a group full of like-minded individuals who are also all on our own paths toward happiness and success. And as hopefully you know by now, one of the greatest ways to accelerate your path forward and to assimilate new beliefs is to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are also working on achieving the same things that you are. So I definitely invite you to join us. Come say hi. We are all waiting for you. All right. So how do you rebuild your life after going through such a devastating incident such as that one? There's many kinds of dark nights of the soul. There's, for example, recovering from addiction is often a dark night of the soul, when we really reach that rock bottom and we know that we have to destroy all our patterns, all our habits. Recovering from codependence can also be a dark night of the soul. Anything where we faced a real trial, a real ordeal, where the life that we have known up till that point has been ripped out from under us, or in some cases where we have decided for ourselves that the life that we have known for ourselves so far is no longer sustainable, when we've hit that point that we feel is that bottom and we know that we need to make a change. The thing that occurs next is often known as a dark night of the soul. Is where we walk away from our old patterns and our old habits. And in the case of something like an accident that we didn't ask for, that had nothing to do with our patterns in the first place, this can feel especially devastating because it can feel like there was, that there was no reason for it to happen, and perhaps there wasn't. But in many ways, we are able to reframe what happens to us as, even if it is devastating, even if it is difficult to get through, we can also reframe it as an opportunity. In addition to all the other things that it is, can also be an opportunity for us to really examine what is working for us in our lives and what we want to grow into, what we want to become. Even if our previous patterns had nothing to do with what happened to us, which is like in the case of the car accident that this person described. It's not like addiction or codependence, where it's our own patterns that are causing our rock bottom. In this case, it's a purely external circumstance. It's a cell phone driver, a driver irresponsibly texting or using a phone while driving, and coming out of the blue and putting us into this awful state where we have to rebuild ourselves from scratch, at least physically, learning to walk again, to heal, to recuperate, all of those things that we have to go through just to get back to a place where we're functioning. And yet also, once we've done that, there's been that pause button in so many instances where, we've had so much time to focus on ourselves and on our bodies that we really, our priorities may no longer be the same as they were before that happened. So even if something is purely an accident, it still causes us to be in that void sometimes where our patterns are left behind anyway, just by default, by the fact that suddenly, if we've had this brush with death, many of the things that were once meaningful or valuable to us may no longer feel that way in the aftermath, right? We may have once thought that, hanging out with certain friends or certain people was fulfilling for us. And in the wake of that brush with death, we realize, you know what? Life is really precious, and I'm not sure I want to spend time with those people because they may not be making me feel as great as I thought they did. Or maybe in the wake of your accident, you've seen people's true colors in the way that they treated you, in the way that they cared for you, and you've decided to call in better friends. Maybe you've learned who your true friends are in that moment, right? Maybe you've learned that, all of a sudden, wow, what if I had died in that accident? The work that I'm doing is not fulfilling. It's time for me to actually start the work that is fulfilling to me. It's time for me to actually reassess my priorities in life. So this time that you spend recuperating, recovering from anything where everything that you've known up until that point gets stripped away from you, is always, it's never not an opportunity to sit with the now possibility that is in front of you, this vast and infinite world that you can create from, and truly ask yourself, what is it that I want to create? There's a woman, a delightful woman that I knew back in New York, whose name is Veronica Varlow, and she is not only a teacher of witchcraft, but she is also a burlesque performer, and she has a scar that's now barely visible on her nose in the little shape of a V. And she said in that story, she said that she got that scar because a vicious dog jumped up and bit her on the nose, and she ended up in the hospital. She was afraid she was going to lose her nose, was it going to fall off? They did manage to save it, and she carried that scar around, but being in the hospital made her realize that all that time that she spent recuperating and spending that time alone and being with herself to really examine her life choices, she realized in that time, throughout that dark night of the soul, that she wasn't doing the work that she really wanted to do, and that she really wanted to become a burlesque performer. And she had been thinking about it for a while and putting it off, staying in a job that felt safe to her instead. And so after she recovered, she decided to get up and really pursue her dreams, and she's been living the life of her dreams ever since. She's also a backup performer for musician, songwriter, performer Emily Autumn. She tours with Emily Autumn as a burlesque dancer and performer. She teaches witchcraft and she performs in New York City, which she absolutely loves and thrives off of. And she's creating this life of her dreams, but the thing that caused her to create, the thing that invited her, I should say, the thing that gave her the opportunity to sit down and really consider what the life of her dreams looked like was that shocking incident of being bitten on the nose by a dog, which is something that was absolutely not her fault. It was a dark night of the soul that literally came up and bit her in the face. And now she says that's one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it was that incident that caused me to really consider the life that I was living and what I wanted to do with myself. And in fact, since the shape of the bite, of the scar that she has from the bite was in a V, that's also why she named herself Veronica Varlow. So it shows that our darkest moments, our dark nights of the soul, those moments in which everything falls apart for us and seems so devastating, can actually be the seed of a birthplace of a whole new life that awaits us in front of us. So if you are going through something, if you are going through a dark night of the soul where everything has been ripped out from under you, your life as you knew it is now no longer functioning in the way that it once used to, I encourage you, I invite you to use that as an opportunity to sit with the void, right? We talk about the void a lot. The void is where we have nothing. We have no attachments to anything because everything has been ripped away from us. Everything has been stripped, and we now get to create from that place of infinite possibility. It's like if your life stopped and started over today, what would you be doing? Would you be doing the same things you did before, or would you reconsider? And in this way, it can actually sometimes be even a gift, because the people who don't have those things happening to them often just, if the people who are not forced into the void by a huge and disturbing life circumstance hitting them out of the blue, or their patterns getting to a point of rock bottom that they can no longer handle or sustain anymore. The people who don't get the privilege of being in the void for that time period often end up not choosing to examine their patterns out of conscious awareness. Oftentimes they just keep doing what they've been doing because there's no reason for them to stop. So sometimes when our life as we know it is completely stopped and the rug is pulled out from under us, we can use that opportunity as a gift to start considering the life that we really want to build for ourselves from this present moment forward. And it might not look anything like the life we knew beforehand, but it might be a life that ultimately we are happier with and that suits us even better than we were before that incident happened. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.